We messed up. We did. Help me! In that sort of situation, it's expected that the Spinnaker's gonna rip in half. The other boat forced us to adjust our course. In those conditions, the boats are going very fast, and you've got port-starboard situation, and they're coming towards you at a rate of knots. And don't get me wrong, the guys on Peninsula, they know that they're their stuff, and they know that they're not going to hit you. But when you've got a boat coming at you at that rate of knots, you're going to adjust your course, yeah? And you can see, for them, it didn't look like anything happened. But for us, you can see it knocked the camera, everything. You can see how much the Spinnaker covers the boat, and for us, that's a big knock. You know, we are still just only starting out and stuff like that. Only been in it for 2 years. I mean, Peninsula have been doing it for 10 plus years. So it all has a contributing factor. If Peninsula were in our situation, it probably wouldn't have knocked them as much. But for us, it did. It was the root cause of why it all happened. It was the beginning, you know, of the snowball. It put us further upwind. Yeah, and we didn't have enough time then to get the Spinnaker down. I mean, you can try and guess, and you can look at the videos a lot, and you can see the moment that it happens and all of that. But I think it's a combination of things. It's never just one simple answer. It's a little bit of the Spinnaker came out. Maria ends up going over to lift that bit out. From her doing that, it moves the tiller. The boat goes more upwind sooner than expected, and then the wind powers up and the sail fills in and blows away. So I guess the main reason is because we came upwind too quickly.
We came upwind too soon before the Spinnaker was fully down. So that meant that the wind caught it, and the sail went behind us. As soon as that big sheet grabs the water, it's like dragging a giant bucket through the water. There's just so much weight behind it.
Italia, ¿cuándo lo recogemos? No lo sé. Quitando las cuotas, si quitas unas cuotas no me sale más fácil. Ok, release, sí. Quítalo, quítalo.
So watching it back on the video, it looks like I'm just stood around doing nothing. In the moment, it felt like I was straight to action, you know, helping. But when you look back on the video, it looks like I'm stood watching for a good 5 minutes, not helping. When in reality, I suppose, you're sort of thinking about the solution, you know.
¡Ayuda! No, no. Help me!
When I tried to pull it myself, it was so heavy. It was impossible. I remember pulling a little bit in, and then it just got pulled right back out of my hands. And then I'd pull a little bit in, and it just got pulled right back out of my hands again. And it was using all of my strength to try and get it in. Like, it doesn't look like it maybe on the videos, but I was using all of my strength to try and pull that in.
you. Don't do it by myself. Cast a little bit off sail with it. Yeah.
Absolutely the heaviest thing I've ever tried to pull.
My biggest concern that the sail was going to rip. That's what I was worried about.
There was definitely a risk of damaging, I think.
It is, in that sort of situation, it's expected that the Spinnaker's going to rip in half, pretty much. I mean, it's so, especially because we were still downwind and the main was up and it was pushing us a lot. The Spinnaker's designed to work in the air, not in the water.
Generally, it's pretty strong. It can withstand a bit of pulling against it, but with that amount of water and weight holding it back, there was definitely a risk of some serious damage.
Cast a little bit off sail with it. Yeah.
I wanted to carry on because I didn't want a DNF, and I said that to the crew, that I think we should carry on, but the Spinnaker was too tangled to get it sorted to continue. We tried to carry on, but...
So as soon as we'd retrieved the sail and packed it away the best we could, we decided to retire from the next race.
It doesn't feel good when you have to retire from a race, but it was the best thing for the crew and the boat.
By the time we got it in, we were all absolutely knackered. It took three of us all of our energy to pull it back in.
Actually, all of the boats put it to a vote to have another race or not on that day, because the next day wasn't forecast as much wind. So they decided in the end to have another race on that day because of the good wind that there was, and we managed to sort the Spinnaker out and get her ready, and we raced another race. To re-rig the Spinnaker, it took about 5-10 minutes. Yeah, it doesn't take long. Just take everything off, run the tapes, so run the sides of the Spinnaker, tie everything back on, off you go. The Spinnaker worked perfectly fine the next race. Yeah, there was no visible damage. When I was preparing the Spinnaker for the next race, I examined for any major damage and there was none. So we decided to use that Spinnaker, which is our primary. We do have a secondary Spinnaker in case we do have major tears, but we do aim to not have any of those. We were very tired by the end of the day that day. Everything was all very wet and we just tidied the boat away. I left the Spinnaker out inside the boat to dry it off overnight a little bit with the dehumidifier on. And then the next morning, the weather had calmed down quite a lot. So that's when I laid it out to dry. But then the next morning, when everything was a bit more calmer, I got the sail out and laid her out on the land, on the shore, to then inspect her. But there's a little trick to it that makes it really easy. A lot of people will look at it with the light shining onto the sail, but I feel the best way to do it is to lay it out and get underneath it, and you look through it. And then you can easily see the light shining through the sail when you're looking through it from inwards out, and it shines through you can see it it's kind of even worse because you see all of the tiny, tiny imperfections while doing it that way, which is good really, because then you know the sail, where the holes are in the sail. But you can see all of the tiny little imperfections as well, and you can get overly critical about it. You know, there's tiny little imperfections you don't really need to do much about, but we did end up finding 2 holes that day, but they weren't that big. How big were they? Probably about that big, like a 10p piece. It was about that big, 2 of them. Yeah, so when I found the damage on the Spinnaker, I knew I was able to fix it. It was minor damage. It's not that complicated to fix a Spinnaker. You put the tape on and you're fine. We had all the materials we needed to fix it. You want to make sure that you've got these things on board even, because if you have even a slight tear, that tear in one race can split the whole Spinnaker. So if you're flying the Spinnaker and you notice a tear, you want to get that, even if you don't trim it, even if you don't clean the sail, get a bit of tape on it to hold it together so it doesn't split the whole thing. And then when you get to shore, you can do it properly. Then you take it off, put your acetone on, trim the edges. In a quick job, you can just put the tape on, but it will fall off eventually. If you want it to last a bit longer, then you can do the better steps which is, if you want it to last longer, the tape, you clean the Spinnaker, trim the edges, stick it on, and you want to scrape it properly to make sure the glue seals, and that's it. It's not rocket science. Well, the key thing is, because it's just a sticky thing, you want to stick on something that's not sticky. So the most important thing is to make sure that it's clean, so that there's no salt on it, that it's not wet. So what I did is I took the Spinnaker out early morning to make sure that it was completely dry, and then found the damage. And then once I found the damage, marked it, I tied a little hair tie around it, and with that then laid it out and cleaned it off with acetone. That got rid of all of the salt and all of the residues that can be on the sail. And then that's it really, and then you're ready to stick your sail tape on. The tape comes in like a normal roll of tape, so I round all of the edges up. So I'll measure it to the size, usually about double the size of the hole either side, and I'll round the edges off to stop the corners from dog earing. You know, it looks like a little dog's ear. Those corners peel off easier if they're square, whereas if they're rounded, they're less likely to peel off in the future. It's really sad that it did get ripped, because it's a brand new Spinnaker. It's 4 months old. But these things happen, and they were small tears, and the tape's the same colour. You can't notice it. So it will last, the repair. You can tell it was fresh. And I think that it was from the backstay. So if you look, when we're pulling the sail in, the back there's a little V where we were pulling it in, and I think at one point I actually mention it to Monty. I say, Monty, look out for the backstay as you're pulling it in, because he was dragging it along it, and it has a ring, like a keychain ring on the pin, and that has a sharp edge, so it probably got caught on that while we were pulling it in.
So we were very lucky to get it in with only a few minor tears. Yeah, after the race, a few of the other boats come up to us and said we went fishing. It looks like a fishing net out the back of the boat.
We went trawling. We went fishing with the Spinnaker at the end of the day.
Our response was, no, we've got enough fish in the freezer.
If I was in that situation again, I wouldn't have rushed as much to try and figure it out. I think the pressure of the race gets to you, and you want to hurry up and get it sorted and get it on board and carry on racing, you know. I mean, especially we were in third, you know, and even while we were still getting the Spinnaker out, there were boats coming around the mark. We weren't at the back of the field just yet. So you still got that race mentality of get the Spinnaker in and let's carry on. Whereas I think if we would have just taken a moment and taken a breath, I think we could have done it a bit more efficiently.
It was completely unexpected. There's some key lessons learnt from that incident. Definitely better communication and more practice.
Yeah, we there was a miscommunication of authority, I'd say, as on board of, yes, we need to stop racing and we need to concentrate on the Spinnaker and getting that home safe. When you're in a race, your priority isn't, are the sails going to be okay? Is the boat going to be okay? Are my crew all right? Your priority is to win the race, really. So I guess there's a balance. And I think at that point, when the Spinnaker's in the water, you need to concentrate on what your priorities are. We can definitely improve our communication, and I think that every crew working as a team together should be able to communicate better than what we did in those situations, and that's what we are going to strive to do in the future.
¿Y Italia? ¿Cómo lo recogemos? No lo sé. Quitando las cuotas, si quitas unas cuotas no me sale más fácil. Ok, release, sí. Quítalo, quítalo. ¡Ayuda! Help me, for fuck's sake! Somebody come and talk now! You want me to pull out with upwind? Yeah. Coño, I can't do it by myself! Have a little bit of stay on the